I've worked full-time in the positions of Vice President of a major Wall Street investment bank, Managing Director of a trust company and Senior Analyst and Portfolio Manager of a hedge fund. It was a fantastic career, but it wasn't what I wanted to continue to do at this next stage of my life. So after a lot of thought and research to find an area I found challenging intellectually and something I'd enjoy and find rewarding, I decided to turn an interest in psychotherapy into a new career.
I come from a long background of working in the community with children and families. I became increasingly interested in couples training because in my work with families with children, I started thinking about what was happening between the parents. There wasn't much other training that addressed that, so it appealed to me that there was an organisation that was doing a bit more on that, and I wanted to know how to think about what was happening between parents. It was refreshing doing something a little bit outside the box, going somewhere new, trying something a bit different. I chose TCCR because I was interested in the psychodynamic or psychoanalytic approach. I liked the idea of getting underneath a bit, thinking about what was going on, and it seemed that was something that TCCR really knew about.
I found the idea of relationship work with both couples and individuals intriguing. TCCR is internationally recognised for its research and training in couple relationships, so it made sense to take a course at an institution that's at the top of its field. Thinking practically, I also noticed that if I pursued further postgraduate training at TCCR, the route to accreditation took less time and the ability to work with clients came sooner than some other training alternatives. In the long run, it seemed to have the potential to be very rewarding and challenging work, and further training would be cost effective in terms of my time, overall fees, and the possible date of starting to earn an income.
TCCR has a really strong reputation. A number of friends and colleagues had mentioned TCCR to me, which is always a good sign. When I looked into the history of the organisation and the way they do things internally, it greatly impressed me.
I particularly like the fact that TCCR sources clients for students, so you don't have to go out and find your own placements for clinical experience, which can be very difficult, and that all experience and supervision was done in-house.
I wasn't sure where the introductory course would take me. I wondered if it would lead me into more therapeutic work, but I was open-minded. I wasn't particularly sure about changing career. I thought it would be really helpful for me with the work I was doing, but I was relaxed about where it might lead.
The introductory course provided the perfect avenue to discover if working with couples was the way forward. The theory seminars were excellently presented, informative, engaging, and utilised modern films and role play alongside the reading assignments. Participating in a self-reflective group gave space for thinking and discussing our motivations for being interested in this work, and keeping a personal journal provided a very individual base for discovering if this direction was for me.
One of the things I liked about training was the creativity. The two people that led the sessions used a really interesting format. We read through stuff that was a bit more academic, or some papers, but we also had a really creative mix in the sessions. We watched videos that showed what was happening between couples, and things you wouldn't have necessarily noticed watching the films came to life when we talked about it in the context of what we were learning on the course. I liked the mix between the seminar work, where we talked about some of the ideas and concepts, and the reflective group, where we could think about what we were learning. One of the most valuable things I learned was what's going on beneath a relationship. We were taught about couple fit, that even when people meet each other for the first time, there's unconscious stuff that might be drawing them together. Understanding more about what makes us tick underneath, particularly what's going on underneath a couple that could make a difference to their relationship. It helped me think about the work I'm doing with families in a different way, to have more insight into what's going on for parents in their own relationship. It's made me think. I really enjoyed the self-reflective group. Things touch you personally when you come on a course like this. I like having the space to make sense of what I was learning and the time to think it through. I learnt a lot about myself. I use the skills I learned every day in my work with families. A lot of the skills are really about thinking about things from a different perspective. It's helped me understand more about what might be happening in the parents' relationship, where previously my focus was thinking about what was happening between the parents and their children. I now have more of an understanding, which has helped me in my work with families.
The course confirmed my strong affinity for the work, and I subsequently went on to the graduate certificate and postgraduate diploma in couple and individual psychodynamic counselling and psychotherapy.
I would definitely recommend this course. It did exactly what it said on the tin. It was a really good introduction. It went into quite a lot of depth, but not in a scary way, and it gave me an opportunity to think about some of the concepts. I think for people who are interested in doing something different or considering a career change, it will give enough of a flavour to help them decide whether this was the right route for them. But even if they decided it wasn't, anyone would benefit from it. I learnt a lot on the course, which I've used in my own personal life too. If you're thinking about changing career, the introductory course gives you all the information you need to know about whether this is the right route for you. It's a really valuable course because it's relevant for life and self-awareness, whether you work with couples or not. It's the landscape for all of our lives.